Today I'm joined by Jennifer Carter of Flashlight Thinking. Jennifer, thank you so much for being here today. How are you doing?
I'm doing so well. How are you, Karen?
I'm good, thank you, and Happy New Year. Let's get into it, Jennifer. Can you share a little bit about your background and how you got started in doing what you're doing today?
It's one of those things that you never know what's going to happen with your career or where your life will take you. Actually a social worker by trade, and I worked for the same company for 22 years. Started off as a case manager, got my master's in social work and policy planning and administration, and then most recently was the chief mission and people officer for a $150 million plus organization.
What sort of brought you, what was your path and journey up to doing what you're doing today?
I love working with people, and I think that's why my career grew so rapidly, is because I'm so good with people. And so I decided to get my coaching certification. And I did that and quickly realized that I use those skills every single day with staff or other folks at work. And it just helped me really solidify my leadership style. And so I was taking clients kind of one off. I also started teaching on the side for University of Texas Extended Campus, which I really, really enjoyed. And so then this past June, um, I left my full-time job and just did this full time. And I'm having the time of my life. So I'm still teaching with UT, but also it's all of those career coaching and executive leadership clients, which I just really, really love. And I have a podcast, so it's kind of fun to be on this side of the microphone.
I love that. You talked about leadership style. What does that look like for you?
Oh, yeah. I am a people's leader. I'm very empathetic. I love listening to folks and developing folks. I love working in a team. Super creative. I'm not a manager. I've always struggled with that, right? I'm more of a visionary, creative, inspiring, motivating person. And then really do best when there were people with my opposite skill sets on my team. So I like to build a really diverse team from a skill set perspective, um, and solve creative problems, big problems together.
I love that. So, how do you distinguish between a manager and a leader?
Okay, manager to me is keeping the wheels on the bus. Accountability, spreadsheets, crossing the T's and dotting the I's. I can do that, but it's not my natural inclination, right?
Hmm.
So, leader to me is seeing that vision out or that 20,000 foot view and pulling people towards that.
What is one truth about leadership or business that you would share with new entrepreneurs?
That they don't have to have it all figured out before they
Hmm.
start. You learn by starting. Like I've now been full time with this for what, 7, 8 months, and I still have no idea what I'm doing, but I'm learning more by doing it. I remember when I first got my coaching certification, I was like, I'm going to be a full-time coach and I'm going to be so great at this. And then I'm like, well, I need to figure out this first, and I need a website first, and then I need a marketing plan first, and then I need this. And guess what? I would get all those things and I still wouldn't take a step forward. It was just procrastinating and thinking that I wasn't ready. You learn more by taking action than by sitting there and fretting over your font, right? So take a step, try new things, learn from it. Don't be married to anything, just jump.
So easier said than done. How do you coach your clients through those moments?
Well, we got to figure out the self-talk of what's holding you back, right? Like, what do you think is going to happen if you wait? What do you think is going to happen if you don't wait? Are you afraid you're going to be laughed at, cast out, make a fool of yourself, talked about, fail, and then challenging those beliefs, right? So if you fail, it's only because you stopped. Oh my gosh, this campaign I did didn't work, or nobody opened my email, nobody responded to my reel, nobody responded to my DMs. I'm getting trolls, I'm getting haters, nobody's buying. Well, if they're not buying, you just keep going. You learn what's working, what didn't work. It's all practice. You're not going to get better just by sitting there and feeling sorry for yourself or thinking that you suck. I've met so many people who are highly, highly successful in business who are no smarter than you and I, right? It's just that they do things. So it's supporting people through the doing and taking the risk.
You also say that there's a component of managing expectations, I think, as adults. Certainly, when I speak for myself, whenever I try something new, I think I should be immediately successful and I should master it in one or two goes. Do you feel that's the same with people starting out in business?
I think that, yes. And really mapping out and paying close attention to where you started and where you are now, what you've learned along the way. But then on the flip side of that, it is not setting the bar high enough. And I've had that same issue. So, what I mean by that, I see people say, I'm going to try this or I'm going to do this, and it might not work out. So, I'm going to have a plan B and a plan C. So then at the first sign of trouble on living their dream or something that they really have wanted or they say they want, they bail out to go the safe route. So it is deciding what you want and believing it's already yours. And like you said, following your trajectory along that path so you know that you're going to get there. You know that you're already there. You just have to keep going one foot in front of the other.
I hear it and I understand it, and I totally agree with what you're saying. But for the person who can't really believe it or who has a lot of self doubt, what would you say to that person?
You have zero proof that it's not going to work. Whatever you decide, that's what's going to be true. If you decide it's not going to work, then it's not going to work. You just have to decide.
So, on that note, what would be a personal philosophy or mindset that you would share with your clients?
Number one, be yourself above all else. Myself included, my clients too. I see people, and I'm sure you do, trying to fit into a certain mold or a certain box. This is what it means to be a CEO. This is what it means to be a successful entrepreneur. This is what it looks like to be a really cool, awesome tech startup. We all have these pictures, right? In our mind. When I say that to you, I'm sure, like, what comes in your brain?
Yeah, all the big ones, right? Steve Jobs, Apple, Amazon, right? All these huge, huge companies.
Right. And then you see people try to model themselves after that. And instead, I really push people to find out who they are and what they want, because you can 100% be you and put your own spin on it rather than be a poor interpretation of somebody else that still won't feel true. You always go back to your own values and personal identity.
And what would you say to someone who maybe needs to sort of shift that identity, whose identity is maybe not wrapped in being successful or being that entrepreneur? How do you help them?
I get it because I didn't see myself as an entrepreneur for a long, long time, right? I had a coach that was, bless her, Lisa. She, from the minute I met her, I was like 30 years old. She's like, "You're going to be an entrepreneur. You're going to have your own business." I'm like, "That's baloney. I'm not an entrepreneur." But it's just deciding. And I know it sounds so simple, but it took me 13 years to decide. You have to decide that you are through your whole being. What would this person show up and do? What does a highly successful entrepreneur show up and do? Well, I do the grind every day. I ask for help. I send DMs. I post. I ask questions. I meet new people. Some days are fantastic. Some days I'm like, why am I doing this? But you wake up the next day and you keep going. It's all learning. There's nothing wrong. It's just all learning.
Yes, so true. So you said you just decide. When did you decide that you were an entrepreneur?
I decided I was an entrepreneur the moment I woke up in the morning and didn't have a job because I knew um, I didn't want to have to go through what I went through again. And I decided to take a bet on myself.
So powerful. Let's shift gears here a little bit. We know that no journey, especially in the entrepreneurial world, is without its challenges. What is something that didn't, when was a time that something didn't work out according to your expectations, and what did you learn from that?
I mean, it's every day. Karen, it's every day.
Is there a moment that stood out, like a particular event or something that happened, sort of that challenged your assumptions, changed your way of thinking?
I remember when I first started, I was trying to do everything. Um, Strategic planning, teaching, coaching, group work. Um, and I'm like, I can't keep track of everything. I can't, no, I'm not doing any of them successfully. So I decided to scale back to focus on less so I could do more with fewer things, if that makes sense. I don't know that there's a particular moment other than just patterns that I see throughout the days and weeks. And I track my progress on everything so I can actually see what's working and what's not working. Um, and also, I would say I pay attention to the things I like to do and the things I hate to do. And when something's not fun to me, I don't do it anymore because I get to pick what I do and what I invest my time in. And I think the world and my clients can feel if I'm not totally into it. So that's been really eye-opening. Like, I'm not like, oh my gosh, this is what I've decided to do. So this is what I'm going to do. If you don't like it and it doesn't work and it feels heavy or gross and you can't get the zhuzh behind you to be inspired to do it, I don't do it. That doesn't mean like if I have one bad day, I just stop, but I pay attention over time, what lights me up.
How do you advise your clients to do that, especially those who might be reluctant to hand over the reins of part of their business, whatever that looks like?
It's figuring out the big vision first of all. Like, where do you want to go? What's getting in your way? Who do you want to be? How far away are you from that right now? Where are you spending your time that you don't need to be spending your time? It's just talking it through, and people come to the decisions on their own. It's even people that think that their work is always going to suck just because they've had a crappy burnout experience right now. That doesn't mean it's always going to be that way. You just have to decide it's not. I also see a lot of people in desperation, like, oh my God, I have to get out of this job right now. I'm going to just take anything. I'm like, well, if you just take anything, just because you're trying to escape, you're going to go to the same things that are bothering you now, right? So it's really holding a boundary and a line to the things that you want and make them non-negotiable.
Yeah, I so agree with that. I think the challenge is holding that hard line, make it non negotiable, especially in the moments where there's overwhelm or frustration or something's not going so well in the business. How do you coach someone through those moments?
I listen, like, what are you scared of? What are your other alternatives right now? I had somebody message me this morning that said, I need to get out. I don't know if I can do it anymore. And instead of saying, yeah, girl, quit your job, walk off, or don't do it, um, it's just asking the question, what are your alternatives at this point? We want to make conscious decisions, strategic decisions, and not emotional or pissed off decisions. Our emotions inform us in our gut. That's our gut, right? Our intuition. And having that long-term strategy reflect what we're feeling is most helpful. And oftentimes people just need someone to listen to and process that with.
That sounds like stepping back, taking a moment to sort of calm the nervous system, calm the emotions so that you can approach it from a more rational perspective.
Right.
And having a sounding board like yourself, a coach, to help guide you through that is super beneficial.
Yeah, I love my clients so much. It's just fun. Like everybody's so different, right? And they all go through different things, but similar things, and I learn a lot from them.
What's one of your biggest successes?
Oh my gosh. One of my biggest successes. Isn't it strange that we can't think of our own successes, but we can think of everybody else's all day long? Right?
Yes. Yeah, so true. So true.
I and I think of I'm thinking of this one client in particular. She's one of the smartest people I know, research background, has worked for very well-known companies that you're like, oh, you have that on your resume. Oh, you have that on your resume. And when I first met her, she was describing herself as a plebe. I am not smart enough. I'm like, what are you talking about? And it's to the point now where she's like, I can do that job. I can do this. This is who I am. This is how I show up. So to me, that's huge, right? Is somebody seeing themselves more clearly? Makes me happy.
Clearly, you've built a strong foundation. What's lighting you up, and what do you hope to create in the next 12 months?
What lights me up is just seeing people take a chance on themselves and grow and have their self-worth build and take leaps and show up in ways that they never would have imagined before. Um, and for this year, I'm building a seven-figure brand. And I don't know exactly how that's going to happen yet. And I can see it happening like it's already been done. You know what I mean?
I love that. That's so empowering to have that vision and that certainty.
It's just happened. Yeah, I can see it.
As we wrap up, I'd like to leave our listeners with one big takeaway. If you could give someone advice who's navigating change today, what would that be?
Take a step back. Think through what you really want very, 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 very specifically. The more specific you can be, the more likely that you will get exactly what you want.
Do you think a lot of people don't get specific enough?
Oh, not at all. I want a job that I like. I want a job where I'm respected. I want a job with work-life balance. I want to, here's me, for example, build a seven-figure brand. But like, what does that mean? Do you like work-life balance? I want to be available to pick my kids up from school when they need to. I want to be able to flex my schedule to take care of an aging parent. You see what I'm saying? It's knowing what that is. So when the opportunities present themselves, you get to then be very clear on your negotiation and your boundaries, whether it's entrepreneurial or with a job offer.
Yeah, I love that. So the key is it's all in the details. It's really getting specific about what you want, what you don't want as well, I would presume.
Right. So like for me, it's being able to be myself, being able to pick up my kids from school, take my daughter to her horseback riding lessons, be available if my family needs me, be present after working hours and not distracted by the drama of the day. Being able to travel, help people, and put light in the world.
What a beautiful vision. I love that. Jennifer, thank you so much for sharing your story. Where can our listeners find you online?
Sure, you can find me on LinkedIn, Jennifer Carter. I'm on YouTube at Flashlight Thinking, and then I'm on Instagram at Jen Carter Career Coach.
And we'll be sure to have those links in the show notes. And Jen, thanks again so much for joining me on the Leadership Lab.
Much.
Thank you for spending your time with me today on the Leadership Lab podcast. My hope is that this conversation sparked a new perspective or reinforced something you already knew. Until next time, keep leading with curiosity and intention.